Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Happy holidays. I wanted to put up a tutorial for the crystal bling necklace, and when I made the necklace I just used the pattern for moon rocks, which is up there and in my on my YouTube channel, but it's just a different ending. There are a couple of more beads on the ending of moon rocks, and it's a toggle and loop clasp, so it's a little different ending. And so I really did refer, when I made the earrings and the bracelet, I referred to moon rocks. Use that as your pattern, and many of you did, but some of you have asked me to just do a a quick tutorial on just the difference in the ends, and that's all it's going to be, is a little difference in the ends. So I'm going to do a really quick one. I'm just going to do a small piece, just enough so that you can see how this ends and how you get the box clasp on. But other than that, they're the same netting. So that's what we'll do. And before we do that, I just wanted to show you real quick. Remember, we did the crystal bling earring. Well, it just got me thinking. I gave you the basics. What about adding on some drops on that earring? And so I just added some Valentineite drops, and I did it very simply, and some little bicones above them, and just a little picot on the bottom, and they look so pretty on. It's really pretty. They're pretty, just like little pillows, but they're also really pretty this way too. I even tried some pearls, and I tried to go around it like crazy for pearls earrings, and that looks gorgeous too. It's a little more involved, but that looks gorgeous too. But if you just wanted to, if you made the earrings and you say maybe I need a little drop on there, you can even add, you can add these on after. That's what I did. I just used these size 11-0. It's amazing when you have these little 11-0s around. You can do all kinds of things. You put little picots on them, you can hang things from them, so lots of possibilities there. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to try and pop up a quick video on that also, because I'll just use the earrings that we've already made and just add some drops to it. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. We're just making it, we're just going blingo, bling crazy. All right, so I'll move these out of the way, and we'll do materials list right now, because I want to try and make this as short as I can. And, for me that's difficult, so, but I'm working on it. I am. So here we go. I hope you're making lots of fun things for the holidays. I've been beading like crazy. My hands hurt. I'm beading so much. All right, so for the actual crystal bling necklace, you're going to need silver lined matte 11-0 seed beads, and these are Miyuki. I'll put this in the description box anyway, even though it's up there for the bracelet. So I'll put this in the description box, and you're going, as your crossover bead, so these 11-0 silver lined, matte silver lined crystal, and they're 11-0 metallic bronze as your crossover bead. Okay, and I used silver shade as my my crystal, and I just love it. I think it's beautiful. So if those are the materials, and you're going to need this little box clasp. It's a a 2-ring box clasp, and it's very easy to put on, but we'll get to that. So if you want to make it with that, then I'll put those materials in also. I'm going to make it with beads that you can see, because I noticed that it's much better if I use beads that are a little more of a contrast and not so shiny. So for the netting, you're going to need some 11-0 matte metallic bronze Miyuki seed beads. So they were just going for the matte on the netting bead. For the crossover bead, we're using the same crossover bead that we used for the bracelet and the earrings, and this is metallic bronze. You're going to need some 4mm bicones, and I'm using these cyclamen opal, which I think are so pretty, and they're real easy to see, so I think that will be great. You're going to need a box clasp. Now, if you have this clasp, take off these little extra rings on there. These extra rings are perfect for some things, like the peyote and square stitch bracelet. We use these with the needle right through them, but we don't need them for this. We're going to add our own jump rings, so you'll need 4 jump rings. I'm using an 8mm jump ring. You probably could use a 6, or you should use a 6. I just am using a bigger one so you can you can see it better. So just clip, take your flush cutters or your cutters or whatever, and just don't clip your your clasp, and just clip the that little extra ring off. So it just pops right off, so it's not a big deal. So you have that, or whatever clasp you want to use. This I happen to love with it, but it's certainly up to you, whichever clasp. If you happen to have it, yeah, that's great. Okay, you're going to need a size 10 beading needle. Oops, and I just lost my, oh, there we go. 10 beading needle. You're going to need some 8-pound Fireline. There you go. You're going to need a little stop bead. Excuse my arm there. Okay, so what we're going to start with is we're going to start with the 2 11/0 seed beads, and we're going to do the netting. Okay, and then we'll add the others on. So gather up your materials and we'll get started. Okay, so we have our materials together, and right now we're just using the netting beads and the crossover beads. So I want you to put a stop bead on and leave just a 4 to 6 inch tail, so about 6 inches, so you can tie that in. And then I want you to put this sequence on. I want you to put on 1 crossover bead and 2 netting beads, and do that 6 times. All right, so this is what you're going to have on your needle. On your thread, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Okay, so then take that around, put your stop bead up at the top. I just want to hold this so you can see this clearly. Okay, and then I want you to, actually I'm going to put it down. I'm going to come in a little bit. So I want you to have your stop bead at the top and your group of beads down here. So I want you to count 1, 2, 3, and then go up the 4th netting bead. Excuse me, crossover bead. So going up the 4th crossover bead. No beads on your needle, just the thread, and then just pull that through. Pull that, and see what's going to happen is you're going to have like a little loop on your netting there. Okay, so that's going to be, now I'm going to pull out a teeny bit. So that's going to be the bottom of your necklace, and this is going to be the top. So we've got some extra beads in there so that it will curve. Okay, so then take 2 netting beads, a crossover bead, 2 netting beads. Okay, that's 5 bead netting. Come up through the crossover bead right next to your stop bead and give that a pull. Okay, so that's what you have. Take 2 netting beads, a crossover bead, and 2 netting beads. This is your 5 bead netting. You're coming out of this top one, come through the one on the side of this first sort of diamond shaped, and you'll see this in a second as soon as I get that through. See how that sort of goes into a diamond shape? You'll see it more as we go on. So go through that crossover bead. So it's the next crossover bead, really. Okay, I know it looks weird, but it should look like that. So take 2 netting beads, a crossover bead, and 2 netting beads. Skip the indented bead here. Come through the next bead. Okay. All right, now we're at the bottom again. We're going to put a bigger loop on the bottom. So take your 5 bead netting, so 2 netting, a crossover, 2 netting. Only I want you to add another crossover and another 2 netting. You're always going to do that on the bottom so that you get this bigger loop. Squeeze, you can push that out with your fingernail a little bit right there. You're going to put it through that next crossover bead. Okay, so do you see how you have a bigger, loop on the bottom there? So now we're just going to do the 5 bead netting. It's 2 netting beads, crossover bead, 2 netting beads. You're going to take this and put it through the next crossover bead. See? Give that a pull. All right, so now you're going to go back down again, 5 bead netting, 2 netting beads, crossover bead, 2 netting beads. You're going to go through the next, sort of sticking out. See how it kind of sticks out a bit? Crossover bead. There you go. More 5 bead netting, 2 netting beads, crossover bead, 2 netting beads. You're going to skip the indented one and go through the one sticking out right there. Okay, now it's time to put our bottom beads on again. So we're going to take 2 netting beads, a crossover bead, 2 netting beads, add that extra crossover, and 2 netting beads. Okay, we're coming out of here. We're going to go through this next, sticking out, see out of the triangle, or this sort of like a diamond, crossover bead. So you see how it's getting bigger on the bottom? That's what you want. So then just keep going. 2 netting beads, crossover bead, 2 netting beads, go through the next crossover bead, 2 netting beads, crossover bead, 2 netting beads. Okay, you can pop that out with your finger if you need to. Okay, there you go. 2 crossover beads, 2 netting beads, crossover bead, 2 netting beads. Coming out, see this sort of larger loop at the bottom, come through that crossover bead, and now put on your larger loop at the bottom, so 2 netting beads, crossover bead, 2 netting beads, a crossover bead, and 2 netting beads. Come through this next. Just see that. See how it kind of pops out? That bead, that crossover bead that's up next. And see how that's starting to curve already? It's bigger at the bottom, smaller at the top. I'll just come up to the top and then I'll send you off on your own. 2 netting beads, a crossover, 2 netting, come through here. Okay, so that's the pattern. That's what we're going to do. And you're going to keep doing that, okay, until you have the length of the necklace that you want. Excuse me. So I am, sorry about that. All right. So I'm, my necklace is about 17 and a half. So I'd say the clasp takes about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So just make it as long as you think. It's very forgiving because we're putting the clasps on at the very end after the crystals go on, and also you can make the whole netting, put it around your neck, and then see, is it long enough? Is it too long? Is it too short? The original crystal bling necklace I made is a long one. It comes out to about 20 inches. And that's because a couple things. When you put the beads in here, the 4mm bicones, it's going to stretch it out a little bit. And also, another thing I wanted to mention is as you go along, do not worry if at the top of your netting here that these beads are loose. I want them to be loose, and if they have thread in between them, and you can see the thread in between this top loop. And I'll try to keep these pretty, pretty, not tight, but just next to each other. But the top is going to have, and I'll show you on another piece that I was working on, the top is going to sort of, see how you see thread on the top, and it's loose up there? Don't worry about it, that's fine. Otherwise it's going to curve too much. You want that there. You want this netting to be really flexible, like so. So so you can get those beads, and you don't want to kink it up. All right. So don't worry about if those top 2 little beads up there have thread in between them. It's fine. Just make it nice and flexible. Make it the length that you want, and then meet me back here, and we'll put some crystals on. Okay. See you in a minute. Okay. So we're back. And now we're ready to put on our bicones. And so we'll need our 4mm bicones and some 15-0 metallic bronze seed beads. I may have forgotten to mention those in the beginning, but everything's in that description box, so you probably would have seen that by now. So always look down there because I put the materials list, and generally I'm pretty good about getting everything in that materials list. All right. So we're coming out of, I have a respectable piece of netting made, so enough so that you can see the curve. You see that there are some spaces at the top. That's fine. You want that. It's floppy. You want lots of space. You want the space in there. These are all the netting beads are all close to each other. Check your netting. Make sure you have all the right, number of beads on. So you're coming out of the top of this netting bead. Now before we start putting the crystals on, I think would be a good idea to reinforce this a little bit. So I'm just going to I'm going to sort of snake my way around. So I'm going to go through those two and that crossover bead. Okay, I'm just trying to get to the outer edge. I'm going to come down these beads here. So whatever it takes to get you down there without, you don't want to put too much thread in these because we're going to put the crystals on, but I just want to, I just want the netting to be strong at the ends because that's going to get all the wear and the clasp. So just, snake your way around a little bit. And you see, where I'm headed. I want to come up here, and I just want to get another pass of thread through the front of these beads. Okay, so I'm going to go up like so, and I'm just going to go this way and just get myself back up. So now I have 2 passes of thread on my netting. Whatever way it takes to do that, just don't, rack out your beads. Okay, so now it's a little more stiff here, so when I put the clasp on, it's not going to feel like it's, it's not strong enough. So I'm coming out of the top 11-0 metallic bronze bead. Now at this point, my suggestion, I'm not going to do it, but my suggestion to you would be to tie this thread in, by snaking all the way around and not tying knots, but just snaking around and letting it loose on the back. And then you can tie it in later because we have to put beads on here. And then use a separate piece for your netting. That way, if you're, if your beads happen to fall off, you might be able to save the net. You could probably save the netting. So once you've done that, I'm going to turn the necklace around so that the narrower part is facing me. So just like this. So here's your new, let's say this is your new thread. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to come around here and get my thread into position. Or actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just cut it and we'll start, we'll start it together. So here we go. I'm snaking around. I know I changed my mind. It's like, oh, they don't need me to do this. And then I think, well, it is a tutorial, so I should probably do this. Okay, so I'm just snaking around a bit. And this is what you want to do with your thread. You don't want to tie any knots, as I said. You just want to snake it around. And then I'm just gonna cut it off, and I'm gonna leave myself enough. Let me get my scissors. I'm going to leave myself enough, sorry about that, to sew in. So I'm going to cut off, about 4 to 6 inches. I'm going to cover a little less because I'm not going to actually finish this necklace. And so thread another needle, or thread your needle with more thread, and make it as long as you can. And then I want you to take your needle and thread and go up that first metallic bronze bead on the narrower part of the necklace where these 2 beads are on the top. Okay, and just leave yourself a tail, and then take a 15-0, your 4mm bicone, and a 15-0, and go from, you're coming out of this, I'm going to get really close just for this. You're coming out of this crossover bead, just hop over to the next one. Don't pull too tight because you're not attached here yet. I don't want you to attach that either with knots until the end. So there you go, you have your first bead on. Pick up a 15-0, a 4mm bicone, and a 15-0. Okay, so when you put the bead in here, you're going to come through this crossover bead. You're going to go up the 2 netting beads and the 1 crossover bead, like that. So it's sort of you see that diamond shape around there? You're coming up one side of it. So this is going to place the bead exactly where you want it, see? And it's going to set you up coming out of this crossover bead for the next row. Isn't that cool? probably know that. If you made the bracelet, you know, then you're probably thinking, well, she already said that. But maybe you haven't, you know. There are, you know, maybe you haven't done any of crystal bling yet. So take your 15-0, your 4mm bicone and your 15-0, and just go to the next crossover bead, like so. That's going to put that next one on. And then at the top here, you'll notice you have just a little triangle. It's sort of half of this. I'm going to put a 4mm in there anyway. Okay, you know, you could put a 3mm in there. I have not done that. But I jam a 4mm in there because I do have that space. You know, there's space up there. So to do that, you want to come down, like see the two beads there at the top? Come through this one, and then the crossover bead on the next row. And that's going to pop that one in place. Come on, you. There we go. See? So it pops that right in place. Let's do another one. 15-0. Bicone, 15-0, come through the next crossover bead, 15-0, bicone, 15-0. This is the bottom part where it's a little bigger, so you're going to come through these two and then up that crossover bead. So it's like you're going, see how it makes it into a diamond? Pull those through. That's going to sit that bead right in position. Okay, now these are just my tail threads. Okay, so take a 15. I just want to get you through a couple of the turns because those are the ones that are a little more difficult. So you're just coming out of this bead. You're going to go up the next crossover bead. So you're working with the crossover beads here. Everything you're putting on is a crossover bead. Is going through a crossover bead. All right, so there you go. 15-0, now we're coming up to the top, 4mm, 15-0. All right, so there's our little sort of half diamond triangle shape. You've got these two, come through the second one, and then that crossover bead right next to it. Give that a little pull. And let me get my tail out because I caught my tail. Did I catch my tail? Yes. Come on, little tail. My little tail is fighting me at the moment. It's not going to win. I know the beads are boss, but here, let me just pop this down for a second because I don't want to get the tail stuck in there. But I'm trying to get it off on camera, so come on, go through. Come here. All right, I'm just going to have to get, there we go. All right, so you've come through this bead and this bead. Give it a pull. Okay. So that might be a good idea to just sort of weave that tail in a little bit so you don't have that problem, but you probably won't. It's just, you know, do you ever see a love scene in the movies and you think, oh my God, that's such amazing? Well, the amount of maneuvering to get the camera angles, you know, is not, it's like it looks crazy. You know, I've watched videos on making, you know, like kissing scenes or whatever. You have to be sort of in the right place, which is not comfortable. So that's what this is. This is like, I'm saying it's like a kissing scene in a movie. You know, you have to actually be in some odd positions that you wouldn't normally be in if you were doing the actual beading or kissing. All right, so that's my little speech on, you know, trying to get your, you know, to keep everything in frame. So when, you know, if you do this off camera, like if you kiss off camera, you know, you don't have to worry about being in frame, right? So I'm sure a love scene is a whole lot more difficult than this. All right, so going up. Okay. Oh, here we've got our beads. We're coming back to that little triangle right there. You're going to go through this guy and this one. Just going to go through the second one and that crossover bead. And that's going to pop that right into place. Okay, we'll go down just to the end. You're coming out of that crossover bead, hop over to the next one. Okay, so I've got a little tail here, but I don't think it's going to get in my way this time. 15-0, 4mm 15-0, and on this one, remember, we're going to go through the crossover bead, the two 15-0s, and then the crossover bead. So there you are, like on the side of the diamond. Give it a pull. Okay, so there we are. So we've got our crystals on. We had a little fight with the tail, but that's okay. We worked it out. So keep going, and just keep doing that same thing over and over again. 15-0, bicone, 15-0, and then put them on the way I said. If you have to rewind to look at it, if you haven't done moon rocks, let's say, then just rewind and look, and you'll get it, because it's repetitive. You're doing the same thing every time. So you're going down one way, up one way, down one way, and so you really, after a while, you're just going to be doing it without thinking about it. All right, so I'll meet you at the end, and we'll put the clasp on this. All right, see you in a few. Okay, so we're back, and we've got our piece done, and I love this color. And here's the back. Okay, here's the front. See how it's nice and flexible? So I probably will make a one out of this. I love these opal colors. Anyway, so we're going to put this clasp on. So we're going to do like so. So I have these humongous jump rings that are probably 8 or 10mm jump rings. Just for video purposes, I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So actually, I'm going to pull in a teeny bit. I don't want to pull in too much because then I end up going out of frame, but I'll try to stay in frame as best I can. Okay, so here we go. We're going to open this jump ring. So just take your pliers and just twist it open like that. Okay, so here you are. So take it and put the jump ring through this edge where this crossover bead is. So we're just going to put it through the beads, right? Through that opening right there. And it's going to end up having the beads to support it. And then take your clasp, put it on. I'm going to hold that. And I hope you can, it's kind of hard to do this for you to see this, but and then you're just going to close your jump ring, okay? If it doesn't close all the way, play with it a little bit, and it will. That one did okay. So we've got the first end of the clasp on, or the first loop on. So then take another jump ring, just hold it and then twist it open. Put that on the next, the next side space where that the little metallic bronze bead is. So you just sort of putting them in that space so that it's just got beads. It's sort of laying on the beads. So with this big one, I can kind of play with it a little bit. When you use your smaller jump rings, you will. It'll probably be a little bit more difficult to get it on, although I'm not having an easy time at the moment. Okay, so just pop that on, right? So, and then hold it, like so. And just give it a twist and close that. Sometimes it clicks. And if they didn't go on perfect, well, actually that one went on pretty good. You can always just give them a little press to make sure they went on properly. Okay, so there's the first end of your clasp. And so we're going to take out the little tongue part that goes in there. And we're going to put that one on. So let's take another jump ring. And I'm trying very hard to stay in frame. And I really have crummy tools. I know I always say that. And I need to replace them. And I asked my husband to buy me some tools for my gift. So hopefully he will. So here we go. We put it on right there. Slip on the other end of your clasp, or one loop, okay? And then just give it a twist. And you hear that click? That's good. That means it's gone on pretty well. Okay, so there you go. Pick up your last jump ring. Yeah, I don't want jewelry. I make jewelry. I just want tools. All right, so put this one on here and then put it through the hole there. Take it and just hold it and just don't twist it out of shape. Just get it on. See how it clipped a little bit? It sort of made a little clicking noise. And if it's up a little bit, just give it a press. There you go. All right, so we have our clasp on. Now these are very big rings. I don't think these rings would bother me. So let me pull out a little bit. Maybe a teeny bit more. Okay, so, oh, I can actually clasp this. So here's your, here's your little necklace. Here's a little bitty necklace. So there you go. Here's your necklace. Here's your bigger necklace. Now this one is, as I said, this one's sort of a 20-inch necklace. So here you go. Here's moon rocks. I just, you know, I thought I might as well just put them out. So I have moon rocks all twisted. So let me see if I can get moon rocks opened. Okay, so here's moon rocks. Nice colors, huh? We've got some good colors going on here. Let's pull out a little bit more. Whoops. Okay, move this up a bit. There you go. Whoops. Sorry about that. You know, it's just one of those days. Okay, that. And then also, just to show you how gorgeous other colors look in this, I started this one, which I want to complete. I want to make, and I have the netting all complete for this. I just don't have enough of the, these are Palace Opal green, something like that. But again, they're that opal. Love. So pretty. All right, so there's your group. Here's your earring. I might as well put the whole mess of them out, huh? Here's your earring with some drops on it. And let's throw the bracelet in somewhere. Here, we'll put that there. I'll keep that earring company. Okay, so there it is. There's your crystal bling. It's same as moon rocks, except there is a different end. So there are different beads at the bottom, at the ends of the moon rocks. So I'm glad I did this. I hope it was helpful to you. I hope you make it and hope you post it on Facebook. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season and a fabulous, healthy, happy, very peaceful new year. And I will see you again on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.